All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Couch Warrior podcast. As always, I'm your host, Mike, and today I'll be speaking to Dana White Contender Series contract winner and now UFC fighter Connor Matthews. We're going to talk a little bit about his career, his time in the military, and more. So, real quick, Connor, big shout out to you. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your schedule. I know you do a lot, so it means a lot that you can come on and talk to me on the pod. How the holidays been treating you so far?
Holidays have been fantastic, man, and I appreciate you having me on. I'm glad to talk, man. Always.
Sweet. So, figured we'd start from the beginning. I looked into your website a little bit, wanted to get to know you a little bit more. And I saw that you started with American Kempo, Taekwondo, Jiu Jitsu when you were younger. How
Yep.
old were you when you started all that? And how'd you get into it? Was it like your parents or something you wanted to do?
So yeah, I started martial arts, traditional martial arts, when I was a kid, really young. Actually, I think the first time I went to a martial arts studio, I was like 5 years old. So I was just like a little kid. My brother wanted to get into it originally, and it's just like any little kid wants to be like their brother. I followed suit, but then I ended up liking it a lot more. So basically my whole like childhood, any place there was a chance, I could do a martial arts. My parents found a gym for me to go to. So I did Kempo. I got into a Taekwondo school for a little while. So I was kind of like all over the place, but I was always stayed pretty consistent with martial arts growing up all the way until I hit high school. So, yeah, but when I was a kid, I used to do like the sparring, the point sparring competitions
Nice.
and do all that. So yeah.
Could you tell me what's Kenpo? I don't really know, and I
Um,
tried
so
looking it up.
So American Kempo, it derives from a school. Ed Parker was the creator of it, so it's actually a pretty new martial arts. And I would say, kind of for like from a karate standpoint, he was one of the guys that kind of took a whole bunch of different types of karate and mixed it together, and they called it Kempo. So it was like the MMA of karate. So it was pretty cool. You learn a lot of different things, a lot of like leg sweeps, judo sweeps, punching, and then like the sport aspect of it is like point sparring. It was very point sparring driven. So I kind of like Taekwondo.
Is there like grappling involved?
Not really. No, not too much. Besides like the leg sweeps, that was the only type of grappling, holding on and like break a person's arm like backwards and stuff like that, like kick a knee, but then not too much. But I do think that the judo leg sweeps kind of helped me out a lot for MMA this day and age.
That makes sense. That makes sense. But all right, yeah. So you had your first MMA fight when you were 18, right?
Yep, 18.
What was it like getting in there so young? I mean, I can't even imagine.
So nervous. Yeah. I would say there's like two times in my life where I had like almost like blackout from being such an adrenaline rush. And it would be my first MMA fight and my first time jumping out of a plane. So yeah, that's my mom is there. Mom's basement MMA right there.
But yeah, I
But
want to talk about that too later.
the actual one. But yeah, so that was the first time I remember. So I was fighting a kid, Derek Shorey. He was older than me. He's a military veteran and he came back. So I remember being really, really scared, especially as an 18-year-old kid. This guy had like a full beard and chops and everything, and I was just like, a little young kid. Like, so yeah, I was super nervous.
I kind of felt that when I used to wrestle in high school, and I remember the first time I came out there, and a guy had like a tattoo and a beard, and I was just like, oh no, I'm screwed. And he ended up kicking my ass too.
Yeah, they'll be imitated, but I think it's good. It gave me such adrenaline that like it was like winning my first MMA fight. I mean, that's when I really got bit by the bug. I always say because I was like, there's been nothing that reaches that high in life is after your first MMA fight. It was just amazing.
What made you want to do it?
I think it's just I was pretty good at it naturally. So my sensei, kind of was like he always kind of said to me, he's like, "Oh, when you turn 18, we're getting you an MMA fight." So that was it, man. Like I said, we were really kind of like a traditional style school. We kind of adopted some jujitsu. And my sensei wasn't like a black belt or anything in jujitsu. He kind of was just like realized how effective it was. So then he started incorporating it into Lake. So the gym I came from was called Lakeville MMA now, and it was used to be Lakeville Taekwondo or Lakeville Martial Arts. And like back in the day, like he just like he saw how practical it was. So then he just started applying it to his class. So we kind of created his own thing now. It's not he doesn't teach Taekwondo really. I mean, we do Taekwondo kicks, do Taekwondo strikes, but a lot of jiu-jitsu for the kids program as well. And he kind of kept their same ranking system. So it's its own thing now.
Do you still train with him?
Yeah, so absolutely. So like when I come home, when I moved home from the military, he's the first person I went to get a job. When I just getting out, and he kind of helped me out with that. And then I was teaching classes there for a long time until I started my own gym. But he actually gave me all the mats and everything for my new gym. So he's really the one who's kind of got it going for me. His name is John Morondo. And so anytime I can get back and go over there and help out and teach the kids or go do their belt test with them, I try to take that opportunity to get over there. So what it's actually kind of interesting is one of my training partners slash coaches, this guy Carlos Uzoya. He's a black belt. He actually fought Sean O'Malley in MMA for one of his first fights. He was actually beating Sean O'Malley. So me and him met out in Washington State when we were both in the military. And after we got out, I moved home, and then now he moved out here, and now he's teaching jiu-jitsu at my martial arts school's instructor. So it's kind of cool, like, yeah. So definitely like I'm very close to that gym.
Nice. So you mentioned the military, and I definitely want to talk about that. So you enlisted in 2013. You were a combat controller. What made you decide to do that? Go to the military?
My parents, they were kind of getting on my back about like, I graduated high school. My whole original goal was, so I was a hockey player too. I played, like junior level hockey, high level hockey. And I went to schools only for hockey when I was a kid. And, my senior year, I got hurt my last game. And so like, it kind of messed up my whole like tryouts things for hockey for the next year. So that's when I started really training MMA a lot more. And I took a fight. And then I got addicted to MMA. So I started doing that for 2 years. And I kind of left that whole hockey dream I had. So my parents were kind of like, all right, man, what are you doing? You're not going to try to, go play college hockey. Like, you're just going to do construction and fight MMA. You need to do something. And they kind of just tried to push me to it. I was like, all right. So I talked to the military, and I end up talking to the Air Force about doing the special operations job.
Cool. So could you explain a little bit what a combat controller is, what they do?
Yeah, so a combat controller, we're a special tactics or special operations member. Our job is to attach to, or generally is we attach to like an Army Special Forces team. And what we do is we call them the airstrikes, or anything to do to air to ground. So air traffic control, calling in airstrikes, calling in air drops, resupplies, talking to like, the Predator drones, we call them ISR assets up in the sky. So, we're basically the communicators a lot of time from the air to ground. For the special operations teams, for SEAL teams. It could be anywhere, or it could be our own unilateral team.
Was that kind of like a culture shock for you to just go like from playing hockey, MMA, not really doing anything military related, to jumping into something like that?
Not really, because I feel like I've been very team oriented my entire life. From my whole life playing hockey, high level competitive hockey, being martial arts gym. So it was pretty fluid from like kind of what I did to going to like one of the things is my sensei, again, growing up, he would do our belt tests. He would do like almost like special operations style belt tests. So he'd bring us out to like the woods, and there would be like have us run sand dunes and do like log PT or all sorts of crazy stuff. And they'd be all day events. It wouldn't just be like, belt get your test. It'd be all day events. So it's like I was already kind of used to that culture. And then never mind the hockey, the competitiveness that you need to survive. Like in special operations, like if you're just trying to survive, you're not going to make it. You have to be like competitive with trying to beat everybody every single time to make it, to be one of the guys they select. And I kind of just had that, always had that drive and attitude from, my background of playing sports and doing martial arts.
Okay, that makes sense. So before we hopped on, I actually posted about the interview, and I asked if anyone has any questions for you. And someone wanted to know if you did survival school and if you have any stories from it. I don't really know what that is, but if you could talk about it.
Yeah, so we have SEER school. It's called Survive, Evade, Resist, and Escape. So it's up in there's different locations all over the country, but one that I went to was in Washington State. And basically you go out there and they teach you how to survive. So building shelters, trying to set in traps, anything you could do, trying to evade. So like, if you get shot down in a plane, or if I got like, it was over enemy lines and like somebody's trying to like find you, like how to stay away and evade and hide and do all that. So, but there's all different like portions of that school. There's another portion you go, where you resist. So resist is like, so you say you get captured and you get by the enemy, and you're like in an enemy camp, and they're going to try to get information out of you, and your job is to try to like not give them any information, but yet still survive. So they kind of do torture techniques, and they teach you how to deal with that and interrogations. So I learned a lot of stuff. So some funny stuff that happens. I got slapped and beat up by like a girl there. You can't do anything about it. What else? They put you in a box and they crank down this box on you. So if you're claustrophobic, they freaking out. I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about this stuff, but yeah, they do all sorts of kind of crazy stuff like that. That was fun, and I enjoyed it. You know what I mean? It was kind of crazy. It was kind of weird, but it's like it was a challenge, so it was kind of fun for me. The special operations guys, we went into school with like the normal air crew, so no pilots have to go through it just in case like a pilot gets shot down over enemy lines and normal air crew. So like we kind of like we went through already a lot of hard training before that, so that portion of it wasn't necessarily too hard, so we kind of had fun with it. So we'd be like messing around, joking around in there, and then they would like torture us even more just because we were doing that. So, but yeah, it was some good times.
It sounds pretty crazy, but I can't even handle an MRI machine. I can't imagine that cranked down thing you were talking about. But so I was looking at your website, and I think that's where I saw this, that your time in the military kind of messed with you mentally, and that's one of the reasons you turned to MMA. Could you talk about how martial arts helped you kind of come back?
Yeah, so like first of all, like anytime my entire life, like anytime anything was bothering me, like say it was like doing bad in school or whatever, something like that, I was just getting angry. I would always use martial arts, or if my brother was bullying me or something like that, I used martial arts as like an outlet and go to the gym. So when I came home from Afghanistan, it was near the end of my military enlistment. I definitely wasn't myself. I was really short tempered and I just wasn't like feeling myself, and I was just kind of like depressed and down. Like so just like any other time in my life, I'd always want to go back to the martial arts gym to kind of deal with my issues. But like some reason when I went back this time, I got so much better a lot faster than I ever had before that. I think it's just like, I was using it as like a tool to help me out going through these tough times, but like that also made me really good. All the skills that I developed through my special operations career, like the mental toughness, the discipline, and the attitude, I kind of applied that into martial arts, and I got way better than I ever before that. And I didn't really come back to martial arts to try to make it to the UFC after my military career. I remember saying to my coach, I was just like, it's kid Micah B. A lot of people probably know him. He has a big following on Instagram. I remember going to him. Me and him just started working together. I was like, hey man, I know I have no chance of making it to the UFC, but I think I want to get back into try to take a fight. He's like, why can't you? Why do you think you can't make it to the UFC? And I just kind of changed my perspective. I guess I could try to make it to the UFC, and I just put after that moment, I kind of put everything into it, and here we are.
I'm glad he said it to you. We're glad to have you in the UFC. But do you have any like advice for other people that might be struggling coming back from their time in the military?
Yeah, I would definitely say the main thing is you got to take care of yourself. Stay away from drugs and alcohol as much as possible. I think that's it's like a looping factor that a lot of us try to use to cope with what happened, and then that takes over. So I would say stay away from drugs and alcohol and find yourself a passion. Or a lot of people already have passions. If you don't have passions, try new things and try to find a passion. Whatever it is, it doesn't have to be martial arts. It could be surfing, skateboarding, snowboarding, art, whatever it is, man. Find your passion, take care of yourself, and you get lost in it, because that will generally, for me, it helped out, and I'm sure it could help out a lot of people.
So you just mentioned it for a second. Do you skateboard? Because I noticed the
Oh
boards
yeah,
behind you.
I grew up skateboarding. Yeah, I grew up skateboarding. I don't do it too much anymore, just because I'm not trying to get hurt, But I do like have a longboard. I'll cruise around, have my dog pull me around on. I surf, I snowboard. I like all those kind of things.
Cool. What kind of dog do you have?
I got a boxer, but he's getting old right now. He hasn't been pulling me lately because he's starting to get real old. He's 12 years old. So but yeah, he's been my best dog. He's awesome.
That's awesome. But all right, so moving on. I did see also that you were at some point at least teaching jujitsu to like first responders, police officers, stuff like that. Are you still doing that? And how'd you get into that?
So right now I have a gym. We have Mom's Basement MMA. It's literally in my parents' house, and yeah, that was the thing. We opened up for like anybody, but now it's just like Sundays. It's open mat for everybody, and I always just like if any first responders or officers, anybody comes in that does a first responder or prior veteran, it's just free. So it's just kind of like the deal with that. But a lot of those times, my Sundays are like my favorite day. It's like every other day I train is like very serious. You know what I mean? You're like you're there to work, and like Sunday's my day to go into the gym, and I can just kind of do what I want, have fun, play around, and train with other guys, like guys like my students. So it's it's a good time.
How did Mom's Basement happen? Where'd that come from?
So I originally tried to start my own gym. I was renting from a CrossFit gym, and this is before I made it to the UFC or Contender Series or anything like that. But I was renting for this CrossFit gym, and then like after the pandemic, they were kind of like struggling to keep their customers, and they were scheduled to move to a new gym. So like right at the last second before we were about to move, they're like, they just didn't, they didn't feel like it was the right move, and they decided, just to close doors and do something else. So it kind of left me hanging. I was like, shit, well, I guess I don't know what I'm going to do. So we tried to look for another space. Everything was like super expensive, you know what I mean? Post pandemic, everything's like $4,000 for anything, you know what I mean? So I was like, it's not really worth this. My parents were like, hey, you can put the gym in the basements for temporarily. And like, so we went down there for like a small matted area for a little while. And then, and kind of just generally grow and grow. And now we have like a full on gym with like a cage, fully matted out, bags. And I don't think we're moving any more time anytime soon because it's just like it's a better, I don't have to worry about making rent or anything like that. I can run my classes down there, and it's like just a better environment for everybody. Really, it's just like, my own space. So it's been really awesome. We got a lot of good guys down there. Like Joe Poirier, an up and coming MMA fighter, local guy. Probably see him on the Contender Series. He's been fighting down there. We have Andrew Valdina, another kid. He's 5-1. We have my girlfriend, Erin Johnson. She's an MMA fighter, War Baby. It's her Instagram. Everybody's following her. And just like a whole bunch of other new guys. I kind of just like I have guys now that like strictly learned all their jiu-jitsu from me, and they're getting good. So it's like pretty cool and fun to watch.
Yeah, that's very cool. I can only imagine like watching guys that you're training and they're just getting better and better. And
yeah, they're taking my back now, which is getting scary. They haven't got me yet, as a lot of them, but you know what I mean. Like took my back. I was like, shit. This the clock ran out. It's like,
they might start having to teach you soon. But yeah, so I wanted to ask, how do you balance that? How do you balance being a coach and a fighter and coming on the Contender Series and now in the UFC?
I'm busy, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. And I have a job. I work for the Air Force still, so I mentor guys who are going in for special operations. I mentor and I administer the actual PT test for guys who are joining special operations. I administer the test for them. So I'm busy. You know what I mean? I'm definitely. I drive a lot. I train up in northern Massachusetts. I live in southern Massachusetts. It's an hour and 45 there, an hour and 45 back, and I do that drive 4 times a week. And then the other days, I know I'm driving to my striking, my boxing coaches. So I'm all over the place. And, it's just real busy. You just got to try to manage the time and to do it right. But, it's everything I do. I have a passion for, like my obviously my fighting. So I don't mind it. It's not that much of a sacrifice for me to do because I'm going to do something I love. And that same thing with my military job. I really enjoyed my time in that career field. And for me, it's like I get to stay connected to the job. I got out because I wanted to pursue the fighting, but I still like that job as well. So it kind of keeps me a little bit connected to it, which is really kind of nice.
Nice. So where'd you train when you came back from the military? Did you go back to your home gym?
So originally, when I first came back, I was training at Lausanne. So I trained there for like about a couple of years. I was working there as well. I was teaching class there, and I was training there. And then after my Francis Marshall fight, my first time in the Contender Series, I figured I kind of needed to switch things up and get different training partners and work with guys at a higher level. And that's what kind of brought me to the New England Cartel. So I went up there and I started training there after my loss with Francis Marshall. And that's been a complete game changer in my game, honestly. Like just the bodies that I'm getting, the coaching from Tyson Chartier is the best. You know what I mean? He always has a plan. He stays strict. It's like practice is not just messing around. Not you're like a lot of gyms, like you'd be a fighter, you gotta be like your own coach. Nobody's really cares if you show up or not. With the Women Cartel, it's like if you show up late for practice, it's like you're doing burpees. You know what I mean? It's run like a real like sports team. So and every single person I work with is like another really good high level person. You don't have those restaurants, and it's really been a game changer for me for sure.
I was listening to one of your interviews, and I think you mentioned that you trained with Marshall after your fight.
Yes.
How'd that happen?
So me and my girlfriend were going down to Atlantic City for like actually a military reunion thing I had to go to, and his gym was right next to where it was. So I was like, all right, well, hit him up. We'll go down there, see what's up. We'll go in there and do some training. So I hit him up. He's like, yeah, come in. So I go in there, and I think it's going to be like me in a class, and Francis will be there, which is no problem. But like, it was just like Kurt Pellegrino, his coach, and like me and Francis Marshall. He's like, all right, go. He's like, do you guys want to punch? I'm like, no, I was going to grapple. And he's all right, go. It was just like a wrestling fight. He's just right back to it with Francis Marshall. No, it was cool though. Francis was a savage. It was good. I was partying the night before too. It was a bad night for me to go in there, but it was all right. We did some wrestling rounds, and he's a wicked, super nice kid. I think you'll see. I think he's been training at American Top Team now, and I know he took a couple of losses, but I think you're going to see him bounce back from that for sure.
Yeah, he's still very young too, right?
Yeah, he's like 22, 23. He's super young, and he's super talented. His gas tank's insane. So I mean, I literally like broke the UFC's record for cardio for VO2 max, and when I was training with him, he had a crazy gas tank. So I don't even know, man.
Yeah, I mean, we saw that in your fight. Both of you guys just never stopped till it was over.
Yeah, took some nice CT in that fight, both of us. Me more than him.
This is a great fight, man. It was a lot of fun. Question: Are you did you spend some time at Syndicate recently? I was going through your Instagram a little bit.
Yeah, so I was just out in Vegas. I was doing some rehab stuff. One of my teammates was fighting Ross Levine. He's a karate combat champ. He was fighting, and then so we went out there for the week, and I wanted to do some rehab stuff when my shoulder was bothering me after the fight. So I was out there all week just doing rehab and doing all the testing for the UFC PI. And so I went into Syndicate, and I did the sparring day. There was Aljo was there, Marab was there, Raul was there. So it was fun to get to move around some of those guys, and it was nothing hard or anything like that. But, some light sparring, and it was fun. It was a good time.
Yeah, that's cool that you got to train with like Aljo and Marab.
Yeah, no, it's kind of weird though, because Aljo's is fighting Calvin Cater.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So like he knew going into that, I guess, that he was fighting Cal, but he didn't know I was from Boston, so that was kind of good. And then after, he was asking, he's like, where are you from? And I was just like, oh, I'm from Massachusetts. He's like, do you train with Calvin and Rob? And I was like, yeah. He's like, oh, I'm fighting them. I was like, oh shit, oh no. I was like, I'm gonna go into practice, and Calvin's gonna be mad at me and start throwing bombs at me.
So I don't know if you can talk about it too much, but do you have any thoughts on that fight, how it's going to play out? Obviously, you might be a little bit biased. But.
Yeah, I'm obviously going to be completely biased. I think that from what I saw, I think that, Calvin's got really good boxing, and you know what I mean? And Aljo, I think, is lacking the boxing. So if Calvin can defend the takedowns, which he does very well, he has done that in the past. He's got a really good takedown defense, and he can, I think he has a good chance of touching him up on the way in. I mean, you saw what happened with Sean O'Malley. You're talking a weight class up and guy who hits even harder. I think he's got a good chance to deal with him. You know what I mean? So, Calvin's a pretty big 45er. It's just looking at the sizes of them. Like Aljo's like a small 45, real small 45 or big 35 or so. I think he's gonna. It could be a good chance. I hope so. I mean, I think it's a good. If Calvin gets his knockout, that puts him right back up where we need to be. You know what I mean? It's a big name, and I think it'd be good. It's kind of unfortunate. Calvin did really good. He beat Giga. You know what I mean? That's huge. Giga's really, really good. Beat him up really good. He had the Max Holloway fight, but Max Holloway's Max Holloway. He's one of the best ever. That was a tough fight. And then he hurt his knee on that. Keep doing that flying knee, just a stupid little weird thing against Cam Arnold. That's how he lost that. Not Cam Arnold. Arnold Allen. Is that Arnold Allen? What's his name? What's that guy's name? The guy. He hurt his knee. Arnold something. That British guy.
Arnold Allen, I think.
Arnold, that is Arnold. Yeah, he hurt his knee doing that flying knee against Arnold Allen. So yeah, we'll see.
Gotcha. All right, so I wanted to turn back to the Contender Series a little bit. I mean, it must have been super exciting getting that call the first time, and then you had that war. Unfortunately, you lost that one. How did it feel? Like, what was your mindset after? Did you at all consider maybe I don't want to do this anymore?
No, never crossed my mind.
Good.
No, yeah, it was a setback. It was a necessary setback. Just replanned, just took it. Obviously I wanted to win, but I'm actually so grateful that I didn't win, because I got so much better and more experience after losing that fight. So Sorry, yeah, after losing that fight. So I got lucky too with having the Dana White's looking for a fight happened to come to Boston. That particular time they haven't been there in forever, so it's like that was cool that I got to be on that card. And it was what it was. I remember just coming back. Yeah, it sucked. We just we figured things out, figured out what I need to do, and just went back to work and just started training. So I always believe in myself. I know I could fight at that level. That Francis Marshall fight wasn't my best. I know I hate being excuses. I'm not going to say this excuse. I mean, he beat me hands down, fair and square. But I didn't have I didn't have a good rehydration. I didn't sleep a lot before that fight. It was my first time traveling, going into traveling far and then fighting. And like when I was young and I was 20 something, I could recover anywhere, anytime, just fine. I'm a little bit older now. I'm 31, so like I didn't get there early. I only got there, I was threw out on a Saturday and fought on a Tuesday. So like Saturday, it was just I was all messed up, and I think that had a big weight in my fight and the way I performed. Just feel like I was a step behind, and that's why I got touched up so much comparatively how I normally would fight.
Is it a hard weight cut for you?
No, it's not. It wasn't a hard weight cut. It was just I didn't rehydrate the way I usually do. Usually after I rehydrate, I get up to like 163, 164, like if the day of the fight. For that fight against Francis, I was 153 when I weighed myself at the place at the Apex. So I was like, damn, I was 10 pounds lighter than I usually was.
Gotcha. So did you expect the second call after fighting in front of Dana? Did you expect a UFC call up or another opportunity on the Contender Series?
Nope. I just figured I was gonna have to get a couple more fights before I got my, even earned anything at all. So that's why I had the Dana White's looking for a fight. Got ready for that. I had to get fight Andrew Cruz. He was like 8-3. I finished him in the first round, got the rear naked choke. So I mean, I was kind of hoping to get, I was like, hey, maybe they'll give me a contract because I had a good fight with Francis Marshall. And then, you know what I mean? But then he's like, nope, we're going to bring you back. And I was kind of like, all right, fuck, I got to go back to the Contender Series again. And then, and I was just, I had a really good camp and got ready for that. The team all went out there with me to Vegas. That was amazing. I think that was like the best thing about it is like I had the whole New England cartel out there for my fight. So it was like, I transferred my camp from my fight all the way to Vegas. It was like nothing was going to stop me that week. So it was a good week.
You're talking about the week of your second fight?
Yeah, my second fight.
Series?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, second
Gotcha.
fight. Yep.
So,
So I lost my fight for Contender Series, the first one. I went on Dana White's for a fight. They gave me a contract back. Then we went back out to Vegas again, and that's when the New England cartel. I was with the cartel that time, and it was like definitely a big game changer and everything.
Nice. So when you came back, you were coming back against what was his name? Yair Farias, I believe.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, Farias.
And an undefeated fighter. And
Yep.
I mean, you bodied him, in my opinion. You beat him up good. In your first Contender Series fight, you got taken down 6 times, and then you came back and you took this guy down 7 times.
Yeah.
Was that something you planned? Was that like a new game plan?
Yeah, I mean, I just didn't really wrestle the way I mean, I grew up just doing jiu-jitsu. At Lozon's, we were kind of like jiu-jitsu-y. It was MMA, but it was very jiu-jitsu-y. I mean, we're going for submission. It's Joe Lozon style, you know what I mean? That was our style. And it's hard to do that against really good wrestlers. So at the cartel, we learn how to wrestle, you know what I mean? And I just that's all I really worked on the last year. So I was just able to apply that a lot better in that fight against Ferreras. He's a really good striker. He's long, he's big. So I just, that's where I was able to get underneath him. And then that's where we wanted to take the fight. I mean, that was the game plan going into it the entire time. All fight camp, I was just working on fitting in on takedowns. And, it worked. So I was really happy. That's the difference of having a really good coach and team behind you. It'll change the whole outcome of everything.
So do you think you had like a better mindset also going into that second time?
Yeah, I just had a game plan. I don't think I really had like a organic, real game plan going into my Francis Marshall fight. I think I was just kind of just doing what I ever did. I was just finishing people in the first round. I touch people and they get knocked out. And that's what happened. You know what I mean? And then, I fit the Francis and it was like, that didn't happen, that he didn't go anywhere. And so, going with the cartel, they forced me in sparring. Nobody's really forced me to do anything while we're training and sparring. Hey, shoot for takedowns. They made me work on those things that are hard to work on, and it paid off.
Yeah, wrestling looked really good this time out.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, I think that's, Cartel, they helped me out with that wrestling a lot. Nick Fiore, he's one of our teammates. He's really good at jiu-jitsu. He helped us with that. We have John Dupree is a wrestling coach from up in Maine. He comes down, he works with us. That was a huge help. So, and like Tyson was just, with the game plan, just kept that in my head the whole camp.
Nice. So are you sticking with them for now? You're still training over there?
Yeah, I'm not leaving. I love it there. I mean, for me, it's like I'm representing my home. You know what I mean? And the New England, like I really do feel like that's where Boston's fifth team, kind of like we're Boston's MMA team up there right now. And so it's just that means a lot to me to fight out of that. And I really like Tyson. I really like the team. So I'll definitely fight in there for now.
Nice. So who did you feel it was the harder fight for you? I mean, I know you lost against Marshall, but did you feel that Marshall was a harder fight, Farias?
I think that the more dangerous fight was going to be Ferreras going into it. If I was going to fight them both on it, I think Ferreras was really going to be like, he was big, he was long. I was more nervous about like this 10-0 Brazilian. You know what I mean? That's what I was more nervous about. But Francis is tough too. He's just a durable, tough kid. So it's really hard to say. I think I always took if looking back, the Francis fight, I took way more damage in it. And then, Ferreras, I could control the whole fight. I felt comfortable with it basically the entire fight. There was one time where I got wobbled. Everybody's like, "Oh, he hurt his ankle. He hurt his ankle." I was like, "Dude, I just got wobbled. Like I hit in the head. And I was just like shaking. I was just bluffing. You know what I mean?" So that happens. But other than that, man, I feel like I controlled the entire fight.
Yeah, you did. You did. How did it feel getting that contract finally?
Amazing, dude. It's just like, visualization and like all that stuff, and just like thinking about like, you're finally gonna get it. So to finally actually, get it, it's been huge. It's been life changing for me in a lot of different ways. So yeah, I'm very, very grateful and happy that I got it.
So you mentioned to me before we hopped on that you don't have any fights scheduled just yet. Do you have like an ideal opponent you'd like to make a debut against, or you don't care?
I don't really care. I just don't feel like I'm like that far enough in my career to be like calling people out or anything like that. I still think that, this first fight is a three fights that I need to win to keep myself in the UFC, and that's what I want to do. That's my main goal is just get 3 wins, and then we'll start calling people out and thinking about what I want to do. I just want to secure myself in the UFC first. That's my main goal.
Nice. Any like specific cards you would like to be on, like maybe 300 if they called
Yeah,
you up?
that would be a dream, man. 300. I remember watching UFC 100 with my friends. When I was a kid, I was like, I guess my senior year or something like that. We all had my friends over, so I really like to fight in 300 if that happens. But I think like Calvin's going to be a prelim on the 300, so that means my
Oh, no way.
getting on this. It's going to be a absolutely stacked card. I mean, with Aljo's, you know what I mean, going to be a lower end of it. It's like that's a stacked card, so we'll see. But I always either that March card with Sean O'Malley would be really cool. Miami, that'd be amazing. East Coast, so you know what I mean. I can probably get a lot of people from up here to get down there. I even know tickets are probably gonna be super crazy expensive because it's Sean O'Malley card. And then Atlantic City. Atlantic City would be okay. I mean, not my ideal, place I want anybody to fight, but I take it. Because it's East. I like the East Coast, so you don't have to worry about the time changes and that messing up with your sleeper and everything like that.
I'll be at AC Live, so hopefully it would be pretty cool to see you live.
Yeah, you going to that one to the Atlantic City?
Hell yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
I had to skip out on MSG. I live in New York, so I get to go to the New York cards or the Jersey cards.
Yeah.
And I had to skip MSG this year because it was like $1,000 to sit in the worst possible seats up in the nosebleeds. It's not worth it.
It's absolutely insane. The ticket prices are crazy right now. I went to that fight in Austin, and the UFC gave me tickets for that one finally. But other than that, like anytime I'm in a city with like one of my teammates or fighting, and I'm just like, dude, I'm not paying for that. It's just absolutely crazy.
Was that the Calvin fight that you got to go to?
Yeah. What's that?
Was the Cater Emmett fight?
No, I went to the Rob Font versus he just fought. Who did he fight? He fight Figueredo.
Oh, that was in Boston, right?
No, Austin.
Austin.
Yeah,
my bad.
Austin, Boston. I know. I guess next up.
Yeah, but yeah. So, are you feeling nervous about it at all, or are you just like chomping at the bits to get that call already?
Chomping at the bit mostly. Yes. There's anytime I'm starting to get that like waiting for a fight news, and you're just like I feel like no matter what, like you get that text message that says, "Hey, this is your fight." Da da da. It's like adrenaline, just like shoot, like your whole mentality changes about everything. Like for me, like the next day I wake up, it's just like fight camp mode once I get that name. So but no, it's a good excitement. It's like I'm ready to go out there and fight in the UFC, like get in the caves. Like I've been watching this shit my entire life. It's gonna be freaking awesome to get like the experience of being in the UFC cage and fighting. I'm very excited for it.
Excited to see you in there, man. Obviously, I know you mentioned you didn't want to call anyone out yet, but what's your dream fight in the division? Obviously for the title, but opponent wise.
Opponent wise, it's like it's for me it's weird because I like a lot of the guys that I see fighting, and you meet them when I was at the PI. I meet a lot of these guys. I'm like, oh, that guy's cool. That guy's cool. But my dream fight would be Sean O'Malley. To be honest, I would love to fight Sean O'Malley. I feel like he's a weight class below me, but I would do whatever it takes to make that happen to fight him. That would be really cool if he came up to like 45 and I could fight him.
I could see
I
that.
like I like Sean O'Malley a lot, so it's like not have anything against the guy. It'd be cool to fight him. But in my division, I'm not sure. I think I like to fight like Josh Emmett. I think he was throwing bombs. I like to fight Bryce Mitchell. I met Bryce not too long ago when I was down at the PI too, but I really think I can beat him. I think that'd be like my number one like guy. Because he's a big name and he'd be a good fight for me, and I definitely think I can beat him. So yeah, I fight anybody.
Like that one.
Fight
I like
Aljo.
Mitchell one.
That'd be cool. Yeah, I mean, I moved around with those guys. I'm not really scared of anybody. I think I can really hang with any of those guys. Just gotta prove myself and knock out some of these younger guys coming up.
Yeah, a few more, and then you can start calling them out.
Exactly.
I think you and Mitchell would be a great fight. That's a great call.
So this is why I want to fight Mitchell. And it's not even like personal, but like he gets to wear his camel shorts for like no reason at all. But I think I'm in the military. I feel like I should be able to wear the camel shorts. So I want to fight him for the rights for the camel shorts.
New kind of title. I like it.
Yeah, the camel shorts title. I want it.
There you go. It is kind of weird that he gets to do it. I mean, they've already made them. Why not just make that a thing then?
Exactly. So they want him to be the special one with that. So it's all right. I see what they're doing, but we'll figure something out. We'll get it there.
Makes sense. But all right. So wrapping up, do you have any predictions? I wanted to maybe do this. Maybe predictions for the 2024 champions, end of 2024. Maybe for each division, we can go through it real quick. You can say what you're thinking. Because I've been doing my own.
I'm probably going to be terrible at this, but I'll give it a shot. Let's see what we see. We see what we got.
All right, let's start with let's do men's flyweights first.
Men's flyweights. All right. Can you give me like the top four and then our top three, and I'll be like, all right.
That's a good call. Let me pull that up. Let's get the UFC rankings up because I know the champs Pantoja, obviously.
Yeah, Pantoja. Watch that.
And then we got Moreno, Albazi, Royval, Cara France, Nicolau, and Kopp right up there.
All right, so I think Moreno's gonna come back out of the win for UFC Mexico the holiday when they're doing it at the Sphere. He's gonna come over. He's gonna get his title back in the Sphere for the champions for the title.
All right. My personal prediction, I'm thinking maybe Manel Kopp makes a run.
Kopp, yeah, he's pretty nice. Yeah, I've been hearing that name a lot.
Good. All right, how about bantamweight?
All right, so we got Rob Font. So right now we got who's up there with we got Sean O'Malley, you got
Sterling,
Chito Vera, you got who else? Marab. Ooh, Marab would be cool to see get up there, but
Sandhagen, Umar.
I think Corey Sandhagen. I think Sandhagen is got everything it takes to fight at that level. I think he's a better grappler and wrestler than Sean O'Malley, and then he has the skill and movement to give Sean problems comparatively to everybody else. I think it's inevitable that he's going to be the champ. I think that the UFC doesn't want him to be a champ because he's not as exciting as a person as Sean O'Malley is. Obviously, Sean O'Malley is going to sell the most tickets. Everybody's going to love that. Corey's a little bit more laid back and chill, but I think Corey's going to come in and make it undeniable, honestly.
It's cool, though, seeing a guy like Corey. He pulls up like to the press conference looking like an IT nerd or something, and then he comes out there and he's just beating guys up completely.
I love his style. I love his switching back, his switching stance, hand control. He's got everything. He's awesome.
How about a guy like Umar? You think he can make a run next year?
Yeah, he can make him. Yeah, he can make a run too. They have all those guys coming up too. So I mean, I think, but Corey has pretty good wrestling, man. He kept Rob down. I know how hard it is to keep Rob down on the ground, and he did it with like a torn bicep. So I'm telling you, he's got good grappling. He's got really good grappling.
Were you in like Rob's corner for that fight?
I wasn't in his corner, but I was in his camp. We trained all the time, helping him out. Gave him word for rounds. Rob gave me a lot of word for my rounds for my fight too. So, yeah.
Nice. All right, featherweight, your division up next. Obviously the champ.
Yeah. So,
do you think Topuria could take the title from him?
Yeah, I do think Topuria has a good chance. At this, just my thing is because Volk got knocked out in that last fight, and he's back in there real fast. Yeah, like I don't know, man. Your head doesn't recover that, and Topuria has the kicks to deal with. They hit him off the top of the head again. But Volk's a really good fighter, but I think that Topuria has a chance to take the title on that one this year. Honestly, he's looking real sharp. He looks really good. So,
is that a fight you'd like eventually with Topuria?
Yeah, that's a fight I definitely would like. I think he's incredible. He's sharp. He beat Bryce Mitchell. So like that's the fight where I was watching the way he moved. I was like, all right. But I don't think Bryce is as good as what people say with his striking. I think Emmett just flatlined him. Topuria just flatlined him. He's a good grappler, but he's strong. But I don't think he's the full package. All you know what I mean. And so that's when I really piqued my interest about him, and I was just like, yeah, I would like to fight him someday, I think.
Nice. All right, moving on to lightweight. Islam's the champ, obviously.
Yeah.
Anybody you think could take him out? We got like Sarukian, we got Gaethje up there. Oliveira.
Maybe Oliveira could come back and make another run, but I don't know where he's been lately. I don't know. Yeah, I'd probably say Oliveira has the best chance, honestly.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so.
I kind of want to see Sarukian and him fight again, but I feel like Islam probably still wins again.
Yeah, I think so too. Oliveira has the chance to just finish him with the submission. You know what I mean? His boxing's pretty good. He's hard to finish, but I don't know. But Oliveira's taking a lot of damage too, man.
So much damage.
That's what it's like. Those guys, I don't know how long, those add up after a while. And they start like Tony, for instance, right? Like, dude, he's never been the same after that fight with, was it Gaethje?
Yeah,
it was that he's never been the same after that. And Oliveira's had a couple fights like that too, where he took some really big damage, and I don't know if he's ever going to be the same after those fights. So,
yeah, I do want to see them fight again, but I feel like Islam's got that one.
Yeah.
How about for welterweight? We got Leon. Maybe Shafkat could take it off him. We have Bilal up there.
Yeah, I think Shafkat. He looks real good, man. He looks like nobody's stopping him right now. Bilal's nice too. Bilal's really, really good too. He's been doing really, really good. So, yeah, I don't know. I saw Bilal in person, and I thought he was going to be bigger. He's not that big of a person.
Is he stocky at least?
He's stocky and thick, but he's not a huge person compared to some of these other guys you see at that weight class, just monsters. And he's but yeah, he's nasty. I love how he's just a technician. Bilal, you know what I mean? He's nothing really fancy in anything, but he just does the right things to get the fights and win. So he's smart. He's good. But Shafkat seems like he's on a tear right now, huh? He seems like he's the next guy.
He just seems different, yeah.
Yeah. So
would have been cool to see Shafkat in prime Usman. I feel like that was cool.
Yeah, it would be cool, yeah.
Even now, I mean, Usman off the couch at 185 still looked pretty good against Hamzat.
He does. I think Usman has injuries and stuff. A lot of things. He's not able to move the way he was moving a little while ago. He's got something wrong with him. So
yeah. How about for middleweight? You think Strickland keeps it, or do you think Dricus takes it, or maybe Israel comes back and takes it back?
I think Duplessis, whatever. That's gonna be a big fight. I don't know. Strickland's nasty, dude. He's just tough to fight with MMA. I think that Izzy thing is kind of figured out because his grappling is just not there, and those really good. If you have pretty good boxing, and you can stand up and you can force your will on Izzy and make him worry about the takedown, it kind of defeats his kickboxing. He's not able to use his kickboxing as good if you kind of force that. If you try to strike with him, he tears people up. But Strickland knew how to give enough pressure and force him to worry about the wrestling and just kind of box him. And I think that people have kind of figured that out with Izzy, so I don't think he's going to get back up there. But I do think that, Duplessis, whatever this hell his name is, I don't know how to say his name, but he seems like a savage. He seems like he's coming there to fight, and I think he has a good chance with Strickland, honestly.
Yeah, I originally had some hesitations about Drickus, but then after he knocked out my guy Robbie,
Yeah,
I had to pay him his dues. He's
yeah.
clearly a good fighter.
But Strickland might own it for a little while, I think.
Hold down the title for a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see him closing the year still champ. How about light heavyweight?
Who we got right now for light heavyweight?
Pereira's champ, and then I'm thinking maybe Jamal Hill comes back soon.
Oh, yeah.
Or Rakic.
Jamal Hill's nasty.
What was that?
Jamal Hill's nasty.
Yeah, he's good.
Back, yeah, I think Jamal Hill. Yeah, I'm going with Jamal Hill.
Yeah, I kind of feel like he'll beat Pereira as well. That's a fight I
Yeah.
really want to see.
Yeah.
And
Pereira's good too. But what were we gonna say? Who's the last one? It's heavyweight. Who do we got? John Jones?
We got John Jones. I feel like he's gonna dip after the Stipe fight, though.
Yeah, I'd like to see him come back from after this bicep tear or whatever he had, chest tear, whatever he had. What do you have? Was his chest tear?
Something over there. Yeah. Did you see that video where he was like going for the takedown?
And I probably watched it. I remember it's still popping up. I'm not really sure. I think I definitely saw it a while ago. But yeah, I know he popped his chest. That's all the steroids. All the ligaments are weak now. So I don't know. Who else is up there? Who else do we have at heavyweights?
Tom Aspinall. He's our interim champ. Yeah. Cyril Gane's up there. Blades, Almeida.
Yeah, I don't think any of those. It's kind of hard to tell these heavyweights. You know what I mean? They're like, who knows? But Cyril Gane's I don't think he's got it. I think John Jones is just gonna come back and swoop in and just take the title back like he always does, though. If he comes back from this injury, right? But he seems like no matter what's wrong with him, John Jones just knows how to win. He knows what he's just a vicious guy. Like, he's just violent, and he just knows how to mentally fuck with people, I think, before they even get to the fights. And then in the fights, he's just he's hurting. Like, the kicks to the knees, the way he's just he studies each opponent so much that he knows what everybody's gonna do before they even do it, and he just picks people apart.
Yeah, he's good. I know that Dana, it seems like Dana's still pushing him and Stipe for the belt, and then I kind of feel like they're both going to retire after that, at least based off of what Jones has been saying.
Yeah.
But I would like to see him fight Aspinall. I feel like that would be a good fight.
That would be a good fight. Yeah. And what's up with Stipe? Is he hurt or something right now? Why hasn't he been fighting?
I think he just wanted to wait for Jones to come back. They're just set on that fight.
Yeah, that makes sense for him. It's really not worth it for him unless he's fighting John Jones. You know what I mean? The big money fight. So yeah, I kind of understand that.
Yeah, you have a lot of up and comers now, younger guys in the heavyweight division who probably can cause some problems even for Stipe at this point.
Yeah, for sure.
But all right, before we head out, thanks for coming on again.
My pleasure, dude. Anytime.
Really appreciate it. Is there anything you want to plug? Your channel or anything like that?
Yeah, I don't really have a channel yet. I do have Mom's Basement. If you guys want to check out my YouTube channel, I do have that. Check out the New England Cartel. We have like video vlogs of our fights that are like really good. And nobody watches them. They should, because they are really good. Like, it's like my guy Nico. He's our videographer, and he puts together these like amazing videos. So if anybody wants to watch those, they're really entertaining. I think so, at least. And then yeah, that's about it, man. Mom's Basement, all my guys down there, and New England Cartel is my fight team.
Yeah, if there's any links you want me to put up in the description, just send them to me and I'll put them up for you.
Will do, brother. Appreciate that.
All right. Thanks for coming on, man, once again. And have a good rest of the holidays.
You too, bro. Take it easy.
Take it easy.